Hello, hope you're all well. I'm really excited to share this pumpkin house tutorial with you now that we're getting into the season of fall. This is the perfect little autumnal addition for your world, especially if you're trying to create a magical fantasy build with a slightly spooky twist. The blocks will be listed on the screen, but feel free to amend as you like. You could also make a white or a green pumpkin if you didn't want to go with orange. Just choose your imagination and go with what feels right. So let's get into the build. Let's start with this really basic, almost rounded base. I built my walls up to be 4 high, but this is just to guide you guys. You can make your walls taller or shorter if you'd rather. Just make sure that all walls are even on all sides. On the 5 wide walls, add in space for a door and a 3x2 window. And on the 4 wide walls, add in a 2x2 window space. As I said, you can amend this as you like. I just think this looks best for my build. I've added some planks to outline the shape of the roof, so just follow those to start rounding off the top of the pumpkin house. I don't show you guys, but I do go in and replace all of those planks afterwards with barrier blocks. You don't have to do this, but I've done it as I don't want my concrete powder blocks to fall, as there will be nothing supporting them from underneath. It also means the ceiling inside doesn't look so messy, but it's completely up to you. You can just avoid using concrete powder without a supporting block underneath if you'd rather. After already coming up with the shape of that roof, I did then go in and add 4 more blocks to the corners, as you'll see in this clip. You don't have to do that, I just think it looks better that way. So fill in the roof and then we'll get started on adding some different blocks all around the build just to add in a little bit of detail. I also use pumpkin blocks and orange concrete powder to create some detail and depth rather than the build just being one colour, but it is completely fine to keep it just one block if you don't like the multiple block effect. If you were to do a white pumpkin instead, you could always go in with the white concrete and white concrete powder blocks, and I guess use the mushroom stem instead of the pumpkin. Not exactly the same, but I think it could look really interesting. I also like to dot around some moss blocks, green terracotta and green concrete powder. I just pop those on the bottom of the base and I also put them on top of the roof. I do shortly add in a stalk, and I think by adding these green blocks on the top, it makes it look a bit more like the base of the stalk. I use stripped oak logs for the stem, and I kind of just place them in a way that looks a little spirally, similar to how it would look before it's cut short in real life. You can add some moss and green concrete powder like I've done to add to the leafiness. Now onto my favourite part, adding the leaves. I use a mix of dark oak and jungle leaves, but you're welcome to use others if you'd rather. I use the jungle as I love that they have a hint of like orangey yellow in them to bring out the colour of the house. There's no strategic way to place these blocks, so just pop the leaves wherever you see fit. You don't have to add in as many leaves as I do, I just like to make it quite bushy. Once you're happy with the placement of your leaves, pop in your choice of window. So I always go for the green glass panes that come with the Mizuno's texture pack. Just be cautious that a pane won't join to a pumpkin, so you may have to shuffle around some blocks to make that work. I'm not sure if this applies to a glass block or just the panes. Time to pop in your flooring. I've just gone for oak planks in mine just to make the inside feel a little bit lighter, and I've also mixed in some moss blocks with it as well. You don't have to do this, but I added these in because I think it makes it feel a bit more fantasy-like. Now this part really brings the build together and makes it look finished, so that is the structure above the windows and the door. This can be done differently and to your liking, but I've tested a few different layouts and this is the one that worked best for me. I place spruce slabs above the door as well as spruce stairs, and I slope them down diagonally until they reach the sides of the walls. On the next wall back, raise the slab to be half a block higher than the one in front, just to avoid the structure looking too flat. Drop it back down again for the behind wall and then follow that same pattern on the other corners of the house. I use a simple design again with slabs and stairs on the window walls, so just add some stairs facing outwards and add diagonal slabs across the top. I also add another slab underneath, covering the top half of the window. Just because I like how that looks, you can leave that out though if you prefer. I'm not sure what I'm doing there. I think I just went back round to the front of the house to see what I'd done above the door. But for your back window, do the exact same thing. Although here, I like to leave out one of the slabs in front of the window. I leave out the middle one just because I think it looks a bit better. We're actually nearing the end of the tutorial now, but for some final details, you can pop in some fence posts next to the door for a bit more structure. And one of my new favourite things to do is place sea pickles on some of the exposed pumpkins. They look like little stalks, which is so adorable, and it is such a nice touch. Absolutely not necessary, but you can always go in and add some more leaves to the outside of the house if you wish. Another thing that I like to do is add in some pumpkin CITs. I think they're from Mizuno's, but Ghoulcraft also have pumpkin CIT items. And I just pop some of those on top of the house. Just so you can get some inspo on how to decorate your surroundings, I want to give you a little tour of a pumpkin house that I made in another world. I popped it on a cliff so I can make a tiny little dock and decided I wanted to add some crops around. Just growing some strawberries out the front, which is very much making me crave some in real life. Added a few hay bales here and there, and of course I popped some pumpkins around. I've used a very minimal selection of CIT, so it is vanilla friendly, but we're growing wheat, potatoes and beetroot in some of our raised beds. I haven't done much at all around the sides or the back as I wanted to keep it fairly simple for now, but I've added some flower boxes under the windows. These could be done with trapdoors, dirt and normal flowers if you didn't want to use CITs. I've not done any decorating inside the house yet as I simply wanted to just showcase the exterior of this build. I probably will do a short at some point where you can see me decorating the inside, but for now I think the outside is nice enough. Plus it means that you guys can do what you want and use your creativity to make it your own. I won't keep you for much longer, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Hopefully it was easy to understand. I'd love to know if you've made it in your own world, so please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching.